Hi, this is Suzanne Long, and today we're going to be doing a cost of goods manufactured problem. This would be the kind of problem that you would see in any kind of managerial accounting class or cost accounting class. And it's going to take us into a few other topics as well. We'll be looking at cost types in the manufacturing environment, flow of inventory, as well as examples of cost of goods manufactured and examples of cost of goods sold and examples of income statements. So let's get started and take a look at this practice problem. So we've got company O, and they make covers, like phone covers, tablet covers, that kind of thing. And we've got this information for last year. And we're just going to call last year year X. So we've got all these different kinds of accounts and balances. These would come from the general ledger. So like your work in process, this would be beginning of the year, end of the year from the general ledger account, etc. Some of these other ones like plant depreciation, that'd be the total for the whole year. Notice there's this extra little piece of information down here. We're going to need that. And the requirements. Now as I'm working through these files, I will find things like I just did, that need to be fixed, and then as this, or adjusted, this is a work in process. Work in process inside the work in process. So here's our requirements, and I just left some blank space for us. So this first space is for the cost of goods manufactured, and the second space is for the income statement, including a cost of goods sold section. All right, let's see what we got. We've got all these different kinds of inventory. Look at that. Work in process, finished goods, direct materials, and then this whole list of stuff. These this looks like costs and expenses, that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do is over here, I'm going to start by classifying where these things go, where they belong, what kind of costs they are. So over here I would like to, I just don't want to be in a big block. How about right here? Talk a little bit about cost types. So we've got product costs, and there's three kinds of product costs. We've got materials, labor, and overhead, manufacturing overhead. And we've got period costs, selling costs or sales costs, and administrative costs. So these are the, 5 categories of costs. You could also have other. Other over here. So we're going to be looking at, where do we sort these costs? So materials would be, like purchase of materials, labor, direct labor, manufacturing overhead. Oh my gosh, there's so many possible things that could be in manufacturing overhead. If it's plant related, if it's related to producing our product and it's not direct materials or direct labor, then it's overhead. Now, if it's not related to the product, if it's not related to production, then it's a period cost. And there's selling or sales related period costs, operating costs, and there's administrative operating costs, sometimes called general and administrative, like running the office, that kind of thing. So we've got cost types. Let's see what we could see here. Here's materials. So this is definitely materials purchased. And we also need the beginning and the ending to work out our direct materials costs. So those are all materials related. This one right here, and that's all it's going to be. It's just going to be one, is for labor. And then let's see what we can find for overhead. We're looking for plant related, but production related, not selling, not administrative. Let's see what we got. Plant depreciation, yep, that's overhead. Salary production, yep, overhead. Indirect labor, yes, overhead. Notice that direct labor is direct labor up there, and indirect labor is overhead. Utilities, factory, yep, that's overhead. Sales, commission, nope, not overhead. No. Oh, here's one. Depreciation, factory, that's overhead. admin now. So here, part of this is factory, and part of this is sales. Advertising, no. So far I've got my materials, labor, and overhead identified. I've got them sorted. So I'm sorting this list of stuff into categories. So we're good here. We're done with product. Now we're looking for period costs, operating costs, selling or sales related, and admin or general and administrative related. And I saw these down here. So sales commission, that's sales related. Salary for the sales supervisor, same. Admin, that's admin. And notice that in this particular case, they gave us one total for administrative expenses, whereas, there'd be a whole list of things represented in this one number. All different kinds of office wages and salaries, supplies, just anything to do with running the office, anything to do with operating the company that's not production related or selling related. This last one, advertising, is selling related. It goes into the sales section. So I've now sorted over here, so I'm good there. Now what about these other inventory balances? Well, finished goods relates to what we sold. And, we finished our product and we're waiting to sell it. So this has to do with cost of goods sold. So I'm going to mark that like that. And in process relates to manufacturing. That's what we're going to see in the cost of goods manufactured statement. So I'm going to mark those like that. So we've now sorted. We're good as far as sorting. Now let's look at the requirements here. Cost of goods manufactured, and that's what we're going to see down here. And I'm using column G for my notes. Examples, I don't know if I want caps, how about this? Examples of cost of goods manufactured. And there are a few spots, and this happens to be, if you're in one of my classes, we're using the Cengage Hansen 4th edition cost accounting textbook. So if you happen to be in that textbook with me, I want to provide some very specific examples. We have examples within the textbook called Cornerstone Activities, and I'll check the exact number in a minute, but I'm pretty sure it's Cornerstone 2.2. And then there's a review exercise or a review activity at the back of the chapter, and there's a part for that. Hang on just a second and let me go and double check. Okay, I'm back. I just checked my textbook, and they don't call it a review exercise, they call it a review problem. And it's part 2 where you'll see an example of cost of goods manufactured. And that's what we're going to have right here. Then you're asked to do an income statement, which includes cost of goods sold. So let's talk about that. And I'm going to put that down here. This is where you're going to see examples of cost of goods sold. And that's the next one. So it's Cornerstone 2.3. And it's the next part in the review problem part 2. Review problem part 2 includes both cost of goods manufactured and cost of goods sold. Yep. Cornerstone 2.2 followed by Cornerstone 2.3 for cost of goods sold. So the cornerstones are these fabulous practice problems within the textbook. As you're getting used to perhaps a new class and a new author and new textbook materials, definitely use the cornerstone activities for examples and practice. Okay, and then we need examples of income statements. And that's going to be the next one. So it's Cornerstone 2.4. And it's that review problem part 3 to see some income statements. Now another issue, so to speak, is absorption income statements versus variable income statements. So notice in this problem we're asked to do an absorption costing income statement. So right out of the gate you might be thinking, what? I could think I could do an income statement, but what's this all about? That sounds vaguely familiar. So yeah, depending on your experience with managerial accounting, there's lots of different formats out there, and two popular are the absorption income statement and the variable income statement. So just a little quick review here. The absorption income statement is what I would call the regular income statement. Sales minus cost of goods sold equals gross profit minus operating expenses equals net income. That's what I would call a regular income statement. And that's what we're going to do today. We were asked to do an absorption costing income statement, and that's like that. It means that cost of goods sold is absorbing both variable and fixed cost. And then again, to review, the variable costing income statement is sales minus variable costing equals contribution margin minus fixed costs equals net income. So again, depending on your experience with managerial accounting, maybe you've already done this before, maybe you haven't, maybe it's been a little while. Because this particular problem asked for an absorption costing income statement, we do need to kind of do a little timeout, like, okay, wait a sec, okay, which one's which? We want this one. So I'm going to use some bolding today. Let's go ahead and put that in bold. That's the one we want. We want this one. Okay, as we work on this problem, I'm going to use column G for notes. In fact, perhaps I'd like to move this down a little bit. There we go. And I thought it was doing everything in blue, but there we go. So as I'm thinking of sort of side topics, I'm going to add some things in there. Like, I know there's at least one other thing I'd like to throw out there. But let's get rolling. So we need to do a statement of cost of goods manufactured. And whenever you do a statement or a schedule, you need a heading. And when you do a heading has three things. So we need the name of the company, which is company 0. And let's get that in. We need the name of what we're doing, which is the statement of cost of goods manufactured. And I'm going to show you a way to copy and paste. That's a lot to type. I don't feel like typing that. So I'm up in the formula line, and I'm highlighting those words. And I'm going to do Control C for copy. Then I'm going to come down here where I want it to be, and I'm going to go back to this formula line, which is blank, and do a Control V. Now it's in that spot. That saves me from typing that all out again. Of course, it's fine to type it out. So heading, name of the company, name of what we're doing, and the date. When you're doing something like an income statement like this, related to sales and expenses, we need to say for the year ended, for the month ended. So we'll say for the year ended, and we're going to use X's, like that. Notice that this problem did not give us a year. It just said for last year. So that's kind of nice. This is kind of problem that could be used in a timeless manner, which is what I'm going for. I want you to be able to use this with any kind of problem, any kind of dates or years. All right, what goes in a statement of cost of goods manufactured? So this is when you would want to go and maybe look at one of these examples so you have something out in front of you to look at while you're going along. And, this one, might be a little different, but overall it's mostly going to be the same. So we're going to start with materials, and we're going to work our way down materials, labor, overhead. And I just worked this problem to practice before, make sure I had everything set up the way I wanted. And I don't know if we're going to keep these lines here or not. We'd have beginning and purchases was what I was thinking, so this would be our header right here. Now you can do different things with these. I'm just going to use column A, and I'm just going to type. So again, I'm working off of an example so I can remember what all goes in here. Now, if you've been doing, 10 of these a day, maybe it's all, you've got it memorized. But for most people, it's not memorized. You're going to want to look at an example to see what to do. Materials, purchases of materials. I think that sounds better. Let me come up here and edit. Purchases of materials. And then we're going to take out ending. Oh, up here it should say, not just, ooh, hang on there. Up here it should say materials inventory. So notice how I'm using this formula line in the space up here to edit. Now right here there was already some formatting going on. That's these little arrows right here. So, you know, if you're opening up brand new Excel, it would look like this. And if you want to indent like I did, I hit it twice. That's 2 indentations over. Now, this gets me in the other topic I would like to talk about, which is the flow of inventory. And I'm going to put this over, you know, right here next to where we are. Just a review. Beginning plus purchases or manufactured, so what you've made, what you've acquired, equals available. Everything that you have available. So that's where we're at right now. How much did we have in materials inventory to start? And then what did we add to it? In this case, we purchased more materials. So that's going to give us all of our materials available. In this case, materials available for production. You could even say that if you want. Let's put that in there. Materials available for production. Okay, let's do it. So right here, beginning materials inventory, I'm going to type equals, and I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to find it. Right there. Direct materials inventory beginning. I want this number. Click on it and hit enter. That's going to pull it right down there. Add purchases. Equals, let's find it, purchases, so I want this one. Yep, that's a big one. And I'm also going to need ending. So find our way down to ending, click where you want it, click equals, and let's find ending, December 31st, so this one. So I've got those 3 amounts pulled from above. I didn't type them over again. You could just type them in there, but you don't have to. What I just did is called a cell reference. And then up here, I'm going to do some bold, and that's telling me I took care of those. They're done. You could put them in yellow, you could put them in bold, you could skip that, whatever you like. If that helps you, I'm doing it so I can keep track of which ones I've entered and used and which ones I haven't used yet. Okay, so I got these 3 down here. Now let's work through this. Beginning plus my purchases equals everything available. So I need to do either an auto sum or a plus. I'm going to do equals this one plus this one. And then I need to do a subtraction. Available, subtract or less ending equals our total direct materials. And that's going to go over here on the right. So I've got this one minus this one. So quick review on how to do a formula. Equals, click, minus, click, enter. Alright, we are done with materials. Let's finish this little flow chart thingy over here. Beginning plus what's coming in. Purchases or manufactured equals available. And then available equals ending plus what was sold or what was transferred. Oops, I want to do a slash. Transferred to the, dang it, a slash. There we go. Transferred to the next thing. So in this case, we're not selling these direct materials. We're, transferring them into production. We're going to use, this is how much direct materials we used in production, 184,500. Okay, right now you'd want to look at your examples, say to yourself, okay, what's next? Direct labor is next. So I need the number for direct labor, equals, let's come up and find it, right there. Okay, there's direct labor. And we can mark that one off. And now we want overhead. Manufacturing overhead. I probably could have copied that from somewhere, huh? Alright, so we're looking for all of those other things. So if you didn't do this coding over here, if you didn't do that sorting ahead of time, now you'd be pecking and hunting and digging, looking through this list for anything that's manufacturing overhead. In this case, since we did do the pre-sorting, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 of these to get from top to bottom. Here's 4 all in a row. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste from up here to down here, and then I'm going to do some formatting when I get done. So these 4 I'm copying and pasting. What's next? This one. So to copy and paste, I'm clicking on what I want to copy, Control C and Control V. Control C, Control V. And one more. This one will be a little bit fancier, right? Control C. And here I'm going to slow down and I'm going to say equals this amount, this 18,000 for supplies, and then I'm going to tack on asterisk 0.4. Excuse me. I want 18,000 times 0.4 for 40% of that number. So I've got equals on that cell for the 18,000, asterisk for times 0.4 for 40%. And I'm going to do an auto sum to add all those up. Now, by copying and pasting, it got everything looking kind of weird, right? So I'm going to go ahead and click and drag to highlight, go back, put the gray on top, put the blue on, and oh, and supplies. I need to get rid of this little parentheses information stuff. That looks good. Some of these have, well, let's wait until the end and we'll format everything all at once for the dollar sign. I just noticed some of them are showing dollar signs and some aren't. And here we'd have total manufacturing overhead. I am going to copy and paste right here. Add in total. I am not a fan of typing, and you could argue that you're more efficient to do some copying and pasting. Now this one was indented. Total direct materials was indented, so I think we should indent here too. So we've got materials, that's a section. Direct labor is its own one-line section, and now we've got overhead. That's its own section. Okay, and now we've got total cost, total manufacturing cost. Again, use your example to keep track of where we are and what things are called. This is a subtotal. Total manufacturing cost. Remember when we did cost up here? This is what we're doing right now. Total product cost, total manufacturing cost, materials, labor, overhead. Materials, all of this is materials, labor, and all of this is overhead. So we want to add those up. So we want an auto sum right here. Review on auto sum, click where you want the total, click on the auto sum symbol, and hesitate, pause. See what Excel does. Excel says, oh, do you want to just add that one number to nothing? No, that's not what I want. So then click and drag what you do want. I want to add these 3 numbers together. Click and drag and enter. Okay, and then to finish up, we need to take care of work in process. Work in process beginning and work in process ending. Remember, this whole thing is manufactured. Cost of goods manufactured, which correlates with work in process. So we need to do add work in process beginning and subtract or less work in process ending. I don't want to type all that, so I'm going to copy and paste and then adjust. So this would be add, and it should be gray, and it should be over to the left, and it should be blue. Now you might say I'd rather just type it than do all that, so whatever works, either way is fine. All right, and how much was that? 13,250, yeah. And let's make that bold. Hey, wait a second. Speaking of bold, all these manufacturing overheads are done. I'm going to wait on that one because we're not done with the 18,000. We have more to do here. Okay, I think I'm all up to date now on my bolding. Yeah. Okay, here's the next one. Well, let's see where we're at. Add work in process. Okay, so we need to add equals this plus this, add. Check your example. What do they call this? Do they call this? I'm just going to call it subtotal. And then we're going to have less. Less ending. So I need to add in the word less. I need to make it gray. I need to pull it over so it's not indented. And blue. How much was that one? That one is 28. Okay, so I can mark that off, so to speak. And now we are at the grand finale. We are at cost of goods manufactured. I'm going to do that same copy-paste technique where I'm copying and pasting from within the formula space. So I want this to go, don't just enter it there, enter it right here, and it'll stay in your formatting. This was less, so this is subtract, so we've got equals this minus this. And then some of these examples show cost of goods manufactured per unit. I can't remember why I thought we needed to do that with this one, but it's a very easy step. Take your cost of goods manufactured and divide by production, which is given right here. Last year produced 89,000. So we'll have that amount divided by 89,000. Okay, I would like everything over here to be blue. Everything I'm adding is in blue. Everything that was given in the problem is in black. Okay, so that's where we're at. We are done with the statement of cost of goods manufactured. Looking good. So maybe the easy part will just be to finish up down here with an income statement. If you look at our list, we're, I'd say more than halfway done. Okay, so income statement. Check out your Cornerstone 2.3 or wherever you would like to go to look at the example of a statement of cost of goods sold and an income statement. So Cornerstone 2.3 for cost of goods sold, Cornerstone 2.4 for an income statement. Oops, this should say income statement. Actually, let me get rid of that too. Okay. Okay, so we're doing a schedule. We need a heading. We need to know name of the company, name of what we're doing, and the date. We already did this once before. Let's copy and paste this down. And then I'm going to edit. So right here, I want this to say income statement. And that's it. Everything else is just fine. And off we go. And I am doing a full income statement that includes a cost of goods sold section. Another way to go about this would be to have two schedules right here. You could have a schedule of cost of goods sold and then a short income statement. I'm just going to do one whole sort of complete, holistic, everything's included income statement. And we start with sales. So remember this formula, so to speak. Remember this arrangement for the absorption costing income statement. Sales minus cost of goods sold equals gross profit minus operating expenses equals net income. That's what we're doing right now. Okay, sales. How much is sales? What did they tell us about sales? So when you look at this problem, There's nothing here about sales other than sales commission, which is not sales. But don't forget this. Don't forget this line right here. So often with accounting problems, I swear the authors are not trying to be tricky. It's just a matter of where they can present and share information. So in this case, we need this piece of information down here, this comment below. So this is about production units, sales units, and the selling price per unit, which is different, honestly. It's different than this. These are account balances. Now that's different than a quantity and a per unit amount. So we need sales, sold. So we need equals 90,500 times 1050. So we're going to be right here. Equals 90,500 times 1050. Looks good. And then we're doing cost of goods sold, which is a whole little section. And we're going to be applying this idea again. Beginning plus what we added equals everything available is split up into, everything that's available is either going to get sold in this case, or it's still going to be there. It's going to be an ending inventory. So this flow of inventory you can use in lots of different ways when you're considering inventory costing. So we need to start with beginning. Cost of goods sold. Oh, what am I doing typing? Let's go up. Cost of goods sold. What am I going to sell? What am I going to sell to my customer? Am I going to sell direct materials to a customer? No. Am I going to sell work in process to a customer? No. Finished goods. Yeah, that's what we're selling to a customer. So this one right here is our beginning. And that's going to become an, well, let's just leave it like that. I was going to say add, but no, we don't want that. Gray, blue. Beginning inventory equals whatever that was up there, 113. Let's make that bold. And then what's next? We could copy this. I kind of like to have this next to where we are right now. Well, that's okay. How about right there? Yeah. So we're doing beginning plus what we added. So beginning plus cost of goods manufactured. So in some ways, I would say, yes, you should know about the flow of inventory. That should be becoming more and more intuitive to you, understandable, more automatic. Like, oh yeah, that's what I need to do. On the other hand, use your example. You don't have to have all this memorized. Use your example, use your example. Okay, cost of goods manufactured is equals this amount. It's the same amount, carries down. You're going to add all that up together and you've got goods available for sale. That's everything that you could sell. You know, I think my idea was to have these indented like that. So we're going to have a cost of goods sold section like that. Okay, kind of like we did above. So we need to add. Beginning, add. Equals this one, add this one. Okay. And then we're going to have less ending. So we did beginning plus what we brought in, which is manufactured. That's goods available. And goods available is going to split into either ending inventory or how much was sold, cost of goods sold. Well, we know ending inventory. Let's go get it. We want finished goods ending. I'm copying and pasting. And a cell reference right here. And some bold. Okay, gray, blue, goods available. Oh, I need to add less. Less, finished goods, inventory, or all of this could be rewritten. It could say less ending FG inventory, or all kinds of variations on this, but it's ending finished goods inventory. Okay, so this one, subtract. It's going to go right here. Equals that minus that and enter. And now we have cost of goods sold. You could say total cost of goods sold. You could just say cost of goods sold. Doesn't matter. That's fine. Just like that's fine. Okay, so we've got sales. We've got cost of goods sold. Sales minus cost of goods sold is gross profit. Sales minus cost of goods sold is gross profit. Let's do it. Equals this one minus this one. And that's called gross profit. Gross profit is one of those things you should know. You should just know what gross profit means. In terms of any kind of company or industry where a product is being manufactured and sold, gross profit is super, super important. What are we selling it for, and what did it cost us to make it? What's our gross profit? And then if you look at these amounts, it's not exactly 50-50, but it's kind of sort of 50-50. And then you could compare that, for company 0, for company O, we could go to different years, different months, different periods of time and compare this. How are we doing? How are our costs rising or not? What's going on? So this information here is very, very popular and used a lot by management to track what's going on with the business. Okay, so what are we doing? We're doing an income statement. Where are we? We're right here. We're at gross profit. We're right here. So the next thing we need to do is subtract operating expenses, and then we can finish it and be done. Operating expenses. There are two categories, commonly, there are two categories of operating expenses. Selling, or should we say selling or sales related? It doesn't matter. Selling expenses or sales related expenses. And let's indent that. Let's make that its own little section over here. And remember, we had a few. We tagged them. So we've got these two and part of this one and this one. Let's get these copied down here. Commissions, sales supervisor salary. That's not doing what I want. There we go. And these two, I'm just going to go ahead and, it's going to be a copy-paste extravaganza. So that takes care of these two. And I was trying to do bold right here. Okay, here we go. Did I screw that up down here? No, okay, I'm good. And then we've got part of these supplies. Let's try that one more time. And right here I want to do an equals because I need to do a equals this times that. Okay, equals this for supplies, asterisk times 0.6. Equals this for the 18,000 total supplies times 6 for 60% sales office. And yes, we have to do some editing over here. Okay, now I can mark that one off. And advertising is considered sales related. Advertising, marketing, promotion, all of those kinds of things are considered sales related. Okay, let's mark that one off. And ooh, look at that. We've just got that one lone expense category to put in. All right, let's do some cleanup down here. These should be gray, blue, yeah. I think I want to, first of all, I want to get rid of this part. That's because of the information given. I would like to call this sales supplies. Oh, if I'm being consistent, this would not be capitalized. And up here, I don't want to just call it supplies. They use the word plant. Let's do that. Let's make it plant supplies. Oops. Close. Plant supplies. There we go. That's better. So I've got plant supplies and I've got sales supplies. Okay. So these 4 need to be indented, and I'm going to have total sales expenses. And let's see, do I want to put these? See, this is where you could really have a third column going here, and then move into some totals here and totals here. Let's try that. I think that would be nice. We got 3 columns. Why not use them? What was this? Was this my calc? Yeah, I got to do that again. So I'm fussing around with how it looks. You don't have to do any of this. I'm just fussing around with how it looks. I'm also going to need a little underlining here, which is up here. Borders, and I just want a basic one. But look at all the choices, and you can format, you can do colors, and all kinds of stuff. Okay, now I want an auto sum. Total for sales. So I have a little sales section right now. Sales related expenses, bing, 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 bang, 4 of them, add them up. And last but not least, administrative. Copy, paste, copy, paste. Let's mark this off. Okay, we're complete there. Let's format this. And now I can say total operating. So there should be a line right here. Sales, admin, total. So I'm going to do an auto sum, get these 2 added up, and then we are done. So for the grand prize, what is our last line called? Dun dun dun. You know it. Net income. So we've got gross profit minus all of our operating expenses equals net income of $85,650, and I remember that number. So good. Good, good, good. I've got this little note. I've used this and as a class support this particular problem before. Oops, I'm trying to go this way. There we go. All right, let's take a breath and look at the income statement. This is a whole income statement, including a full cost of goods sold section. You could take the cost of goods section out and have a separate schedule for this, and then you would just have one line for cost of goods sold if you do it that way. So you can kind of check out my version of this absorption costing income statement. You can check out my use of columns, always moving from left to right, subtotals to totals. And that's it. That is a sample cost of goods manufactured problem, including some discussion on cost types, flow of inventory, and also formatting and Excel formulas too. So watch for the file to be posted to go along with, and I will talk to you next time.